So basically, hurry up and come over, don't just wait at the station sharing snacks with Faye. Mike quickly got the 2 tickets to Los Angeles and warned Lincoln to stay alert and not doze off when he sees the original. After all, some people are ready to do anything for their own gain, and just as Mike was about to brighten the mood, he was literally invited away by the mercenaries lurking behind. Talk about being a good Samaritan. Lincoln, seeing this, pulled Black Widow out of the station. They deeded an abandoned warehouse and jumped onto the floating train before the doors closed like truth or dare. They shook off their pursuers and hopped on the journey to Los Angeles. Upon arrival, their eyes widened in awe, feeling like they had just stepped into a magical amusement. Black Widow saw a poster of her original self, realizing she was a superstar, almost retiring after a car accident. Now she was in the hospital, urgently needing to swap parts. That was the real reason she got picked to go to Paradise Island. But before she could come to terms with it, the mercenary captain was already hot on their trail. The duo dashed away, only to find themselves cornered by a couple of cops. Apparently, ever since Mike took an unexpected exit at the station, the police were convinced it was a robbery gone wrong. So when they said, "We're the good guys," it immediately marked them as suspects. Talk about no good deed goes unpunished, living right out of a tragic script. Those cops figured they were the main suspects, and in the chaos, Lincoln and Black Widow were caught red-handed. Witnessing their target being taken away, the captain had to call it a day. But the president, upon hearing the news, was as anxious as an ant on a hot grill. Not to mention, clone share looks and jeans with the original, no social security in sight. If they got caught, it would spell trouble for the clients. If the secret of the cloning base was let out, it would be game over. Lincoln, during his interrogation, casually dropped his original's name. He quietly jotted down the family address, plotting his escape. Just then, the patrol cars hit a red light. This presented the mercenaries who received the order with an unexpected golden opportunity, and with the enthusiasm of a kid at an all-you-can-eat buffet, they immediately charged the police cars with bows and arrows drawn. Both sides hopped out to engage in a firefight, and what was once a calm scene erupted into chaos, creating the perfect cover for Lincoln and Black Widow to sneak away. Facing relentless mercenaries who were hot on their tails, they seized the perfect opportunity to dart around a corner and leap onto a slow-moving heavy truck, just like a scene straight out of an action movie. But these mercenaries weren't backing down. Lincoln cleverly undid the knots tying the cargo. He then utilized those cumbersome chunks of iron as barriers to halt the pursuing mercenaries. Witnessing the heavy casualties, he couldn't help but exclaim, "It's truly like crossing the front line, a perilous journey ahead, with danger lurking everywhere." The captain hurriedly contacted aerial support, calling in the flying bikes to speed toward the cargo truck like a high-stakes video game. The pilot of the flying bike went full speed ahead, first soaring low and then blasting the truck's tires in a dramatic flourish. But before Lincoln could react, the rider flipped back and got taken down with a swing. Right as the opponent became incapacitated, Lincoln grabbed Black Widow and dashed towards the flying bike. Oddly enough, it seemed Lincoln was a natural at flying a bike, easily shaking off the pursuing aircraft as if he'd been doing it his whole life. Just as he rounded the corner, he nearly collided with a helicopter, but managed to avert disaster, only to crash into a nearby building instead. Not to mention, he slid right through and smashed the glass, a perfectly chaotic comedy sketch unfolding in real time. At the pivotal moment, Lincoln managed to grab Black Widow, preventing her from becoming a floor pancake. Luckily, in a sheer moment of desperation, he pulled her up. But then, they ended up in another predicament, with the killers hot on their heels, cornering them in mid-air. Before they knew it, they felt doomed, especially when the only thing they could hide behind, an advertisement, started wobbling under enemy fire. It seemed like it was going to collapse any second, but thanks to a stroke of luck, Lincoln landed smack on a safety net below. Miraculously safe, they dodged yet another assassination attempt, eventually reaching the original Lincoln's villa in one piece. However, Lincoln hesitated at the door, pondering whether to go in, unsure if the original was a good guy or a bad guy. But Black Widow didn't hesitate for a moment, and boldly strode right into the villa without any doubt. Lincoln called out the original's name with no response, so he took Black Widow for a little tour around the villa. From the pictures around the villa, it was clear the original's family was loaded, and he was a bike enthusiast to boot. No wonder Lincoln rode so well despite it being his first time. He was riding smoother than the agents trying to catch up. Lincoln exerted every ounce of strength, shouting something that sounded like a mix of confusion. Meanwhile, at the Shady Factory headquarters, the lunatic CEO was back at it, inviting yet another curious clone to a one-way ticket. Since he too inherited some memories like Lincoln, the scientist couldn't help but be amazed at this breakthrough in cloning technology. Yet, the CEO felt a chill run down his spine as this meant clones would become increasingly hard to control. Reluctantly, he ordered the destruction of that batch of clones, while the oblivious clones, completely unaware, were celebrating as if it were a holiday. Apparently, since it was free ticket day, almost every clone won a ticket to Paradise Castle, a total lottery win. Back on the other side, upon seeing Lincoln, the original was surprised and began to realize his identity. After Lincoln introduced himself with flair, the original thought, "Yep, he's the clone I ordered for myself." But to Lincoln's surprise, the original was more into Black Widow than him. I guess he really was a top-tier star. Originally, he had zero chance to meet a star like her, but now he could chat up close. He found Lincoln's absence oddly comforting. The original thought, "This extravagant lifestyle is just too easy. I casually got this luxury item." But in the next second, when he saw Black Widow walk over to Lincoln and take his hand, he felt a wave of intense disappointment. Lincoln wanted to expose the shady company on the air, and though the original agreed readily, behind the scenes, he secretly prepped a new Black Widow to take her place. Just to be safe, Lincoln suggested Black Widow stay at home, as it was relatively safe, and the original couldn't quite refuse.